Hey everyone, this is Mike and with Isaac,
What's up?
and we're here to talk about a very important topic regarding video games and an article that states how video games are shaping a generation of boys for better and worse. Now, this is a lot I can go through in this topic, but there is a topic written by the New York Times that basically states that it is an examination of how gaming has basically changed for for young men, young boys around 15 to 24, as they basically spent around like 10 hours per at least 10 hours a week in the past 15 years, which has basically been a huge shift in a survey, American Time Use survey from 2004 to 2024. Like again, with how much gaming has basically improved over the years, along with how much easier it is to gain access to a video game with free to play gaming, mobile gaming, and all sorts of different types of gaming. It's basically replaced socializing TV and sports along for a lot of kids. Now, the article basically states that like negative side effects includes less focus in classrooms, reduced work hours, obviously poor like poor success in in classes, sleep issues. Obviously, I can speak to that. Most gamers don't get the right amount of sleep, but yeah, obviously, again, like the
Especially those
articles,
raids, man.
yeah, obviously it mentions that a lot of like people like 40% drop in grades, and in like 41% like increase in sleeping issues, as mentioned 2023 Pew Research survey.
Mm.
Like on the positive side, a lot of people said that the boys have had better problem solving skills, better friendships. That's yeah, and even some mental health benefits. So yeah, I do understand that because playing games does and does keep your brain and mind focused if you're playing them constantly. In fact, in another like research, it stated that young men who are spending more time playing games will have a less chance of having mind of memory loss like Alzheimer's and dementia.
Yeah.
So which is actually very important to me because as a guy who spent a good chunk of years working in nursing homes as well as rehab centers, like going into the the mental care area of these places and seeing the people with Alzheimer's and dementia. It's really sad to see that every time, and that's actually one of my like biggest fear. I mean, I shouldn't even say that, but it's too late now. It's one of my biggest fears is suffering some kind of memory loss. So the fact that I am playing video games now to help offset that kind of memory loss, it is very comforting. But I would say that again, sleep issues. I do have a lot of sleep issues. I do that's really on me. I
Mm.
could obviously fix my sleep issue just going to bed at the right time and exercising more, which I do need to take care of because especially when you get older, you do really need to watch your health a lot more. You can't screw around as much as you used to when you're younger. And yeah, and I do understand that you do there is a better chance of people being able to form bonds and friendships with people in the games that they play. I know sometimes it can be a little bit difficult, especially when some of those competitive games you got people yelling and screaming over each other. I mean, I just came from a Marvel Rivals ranked match, and it was basically a mental ward in there. Was people just screaming the moment you play, you lose one team fight, and then everybody just wants to throw the match. It's insane. And funny enough, it's only the guys that do this. Like a lot of the girls that play Marvel Rivals are actually incredibly chill. It's only the guys that are like this. I don't know why.
It's just competitiveness in us, man.
It's just
It's
like
just that will to be. I think even the article touches on the fact that men are just The reason
Obviously,
why
yeah.
men love online games more because of the competitive edge that brings to it, which and the willing to take risk too, which also mentioned was in the article, which they also contribute that men who do play a lot of these games are a little bit more susceptible to gotcha games and games with more gambling elements into it. Not to saying that the game itself, but elements into it that they can
Yeah.
fall
Well,
into
okay,
it
yeah,
due
I
to
get.
the risk.
Yeah, I was about
Feeling,
yeah.
not again. This is not against gotcha games. This is just the ideal, the element
Oh,
of
I'm not.
the risk
Yeah,
element.
yeah.
Of
I'm not
it.
even like against the whole gotcha games thing. I was just going. I'm still like mentally on Marvel Rivals, to be honest with you. With everybody, like
Yeah.
again, the guys that scream, and I get
With the
it. Guys
competitive
want to
edge.
compete, but like again, people in that game just like they really just. No, it's even the problem that they want to win. It's a problem that they mentally give up the moment something goes wrong. That's my problem when I play these games, especially again playing Marvel Rivals and just like, okay, we lost one team fight. It's time to throw the match. Time to blame my teammates for everything. And I'm like, morale is such a huge thing in those games, and if you don't work as a team, you're gonna lose, and the people have already mentally just checked out, and it's just frustrating. But anyway, I don't want to start ranting about Marvel Rivals. This is supposed to be about boys in gaming and stuff, but yeah, the biggest thing about boys and it comes to just like wanting them to play these kinds of games is because the world has basically changed so much where like young men are having trouble like finding girls, but like the dating scene is abysmal right now. Finding a well-paying job is also a challenge, and just a whole lack of fulfillment, aka we're going to the whole the male loneliness epidemic that's going on right now. A lot of people don't seem to care about until it affects women somehow. But yeah, a lot of people in this world, especially boys, want some kind of fulfillment in their life, and they can only get that from video games or anime or manga, because it really gives you that fantasy of being able to find some kind of success. Like again going back to Marvel Rivals again, about people wanting to just climb the ladder and just get like higher and higher rates. It gives them a sense of fulfillment, like I achieved this, because you can't get that, because a lot of boys in this life can't get that kind of achievement in the real world. They can't get fancy cars, they can't own a house. Housing market is abysmal right now. So like again, going back to those gotcha games that you mentioned, a lot of boys want to dump money into those gotcha games because it gives them a sense of
thrill.
of thrill of getting something that they want, especially something that many other people might not have a chance to get if they get like bad pulls or something like that. I have this character, this person doesn't have this character, so it gives me a sense of fulfillment. And then also the reason these gotcha games are also so popular is because the characters are usually very, very charming, very cute, very like fulfilling, and you can usually interact with the characters that you unlocked. You can learn more about their backstory, and sometimes they get to the point where these gotcha characters are so interactive that sometimes they even send you birthday messages on your special day from this specific character if you unlock them. And it feels like you have some kind of connection with this character, because you can't get a connection with a girl in real life, and it's all a mess and blah blah blah. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, I'm letting you talk, man.
Like I told you, like this is something when I saw this article, like I knew exactly what I wanted to say when it comes to this kind of article. Man.
Yeah, it's no, you're right in a lot of those late returns, especially now, especially in the pandemic too, where a lot of the kids lost. You think about a lot of the generation that strangely lost that year, almost a year and a half going into social distancing and having everything be remote in terms of how it changed the way they interact. So you would have to believe after the pandemic years of people going on free online games and online games where the only way of interacting was through playing games increased dramatically and never went down after the pandemic. It just went up.
I guess our
dramatically.
use of the online stuff went up.
Well-
Companies got screwed because they thought that the gravy chain from the pandemic was going to last forever.
Well, that's companies.
The
Well,
companies.
that's not a completely
Yeah.
different story. But the idea, you know, the way the levels of communication stayed like
Yeah.
that moved over for young men. So and like you said, in that way, like you said, it's a more comfortable place to be able to interact without any kind of rejection. Because at the end of the day, like you said, you do feel like you're achieving something. However, it also hurt men in terms of being able to communicate with people outside the real world. You know, like you said,
outside of the computer screen.
outside of a computer screen, where,
Yeah.
you know, touching grass. But you know, at the end of the day, in terms of no, it in a weird way, it helped. It stunted their social ability to have social interactions with people, to not even just with girls and women, but it was just everyday other people outside of that computer screen. So there is a interesting drawback with that situation now too. And it's kind of funny too, because, you know, you and I were kind of that generation that was right in the middle of the dawn of us playing outside and then the dawn of the internet kind of kicking in. So we had the experiences of both while we grew up. We were just, both of us, we loved to play outside. And then later on, we went inside. We started to play World of Warcraft and Ragnarok and all these other online games that we sat down and played when we were kids back then. And Warcraft, Warframe, and moving forward, and all these other games and stuff like that too.
Ragnarok Online.
So
that was a game changer, man.
Yeah.
Like, in fact, I wanted to talk to you about
free, but yeah, where you talk in terms of free to play online service games, which is again also mentioned in this article, is another avenue of why boys do decide to be able to choose to be able to play more of these live service games because of accessibility. You don't have to pay for money, which again, for the most part, which later on leads to microtransactions and spending more and whatever you have and stuff like that. So, yeah, no, I thought it is a little bit of an interesting article that was talked about that in terms of men and stuff like that. With that being said, what do you think are ideas? Because at one end, I think it's, like you said, I think it's great. Like video games for what they do. Like you said, it keeps us mentally sharp in terms of brain teasers and puzzles and complex and critical thinking and problem solving, which is very interesting. Like I said, keeps the mind going for people. But while it helps in the cognitive idea, it hurts us in social, where if you're not participating, if you're not finding that balance. So I think what these articles said, it did a decent job of highlighting both sides of the argument. It wasn't for or against anything. It just kind of shows that, yeah, I think it's great that, you know, boys are able to find this avenue where they can set up games. And it's a lot more easier too versus girls, because girls will tend to go outside and plan things. Guys, like I said, will stay home because it's a lot accessible. It's easy to set up and you can meet with you guys, and it's a lot more organized and structured. So that was also interesting that was mentioned too. I think one of the ideas that I thought about this in terms of young kids, boys that are playing with this, I think again, it goes back to parenting a little bit, and, you know, making sure that parentings are kind of evolved and not in a way of taking away the game. I think it's great that families should play video games along with your children. I think that's one of the most important things too. Just like the same way you would play ball and catch. Yeah, play if you're into Fortnite. I think, you know, figure out how Fortnite is played. Go on Roblox. Monitor that stuff while you're going on.
Definitely monitor Roblox.
Yeah, definitely. Or even some of the games. And even if you do decide to play, maybe I'm not saying some of the risky games, but, you know, be there as a parent to kind of show them and explain, hey, this is the difference between real life and not. And I think it's important for them to, like I said, be able to participate in games, especially games that have microtransactions and stuff like that, or any kind of gotcha gambling elements into that. You're there as a parent that can be guided in there, though. But I think parents really need to find time to be able to spend with their kids, especially boys who are into video games. And I think they should be able to play with them, and also make sure to moderate them, make sure they don't go after certain hours, make sure they also get some fresh air, and they also participate in the real world as well as their social, find that social balance as well. I think that's very important
Again,
in terms of making sure the kids are really good at that.
It really does come back to just like, again, like you said, parenting. Like, I think this is an issue that really could easily be solved with, again, with just more hands-on focus, just obviously making sure that you're getting a fair amount of social time, a fair amount of play time, mixing the both, and then just have them grow up the same way that we did as kids. Play outside a little bit, then you come home, you get some dinner, play some video games, you know, go out to a social, like a skate park, a theme park, you know, all that stuff like we used to, man. Like the old world, I felt like was such a balanced world compared to today. Now, I feel like it's so
Everything's
much
swapped to the digital.
Everything is too digital, man. Like
Everything's online, man. Everything's socially driven, man. It's really, it really does suck, and it really, and you really do see how a lot of these kids are kind of getting stunted because everything
Yes.
is now online. They're online kids right now. It's even bad now when you see the kids where, you know,
they can't go anywhere
without an iPad,
without an iPad or a smartphone in their hands, and it's
Yeah.
just like very, very worrying when you see that kind of stuff.
and
Like,
you know, and I get it from the point of view where parents are struggling. I get it with everything that's happening. But again, this is a part of being parents and having children right now. You have to figure a way to balance that out for the sake of your kid. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the whole point, you know. So
yeah, but anyway, what do you think about this article from New York Times? What do you think about young men, young boys as gamers? Do you think they're playing too many games? Do you feel like they're not playing games enough? Do you feel like they need to socialize more, or do they need to stay stay in the rooms or something? I don't know what I'll say.
And also, what other ideas for the people out there that in the comments, what other ideas would you suggest in order to help these young boys in terms of making sure they have that good online, offline balance in gaming?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, please tell us. Please let us know. If you like what we do here, please rate, comment, and subscribe. I'm Mike with Isaac, and we are saying peace.